Welcome to the video demo of Big Monitoring Fabric Dynamic VMware Monitoring by Big Switch Networks. We will briefly talk about the requirements for monitoring in virtual environment, virtual monitoring challenges when agents are used for monitoring. We'll then show how Big Mon Dynamic VMware Monitoring with vCenter integration solves monitoring challenges, providing highlights on architecture before jumping into a demonstration, showing the simplicity of Big Mon vCenter integration in terms of vCenter discovery and policy configuration for monitoring VM, and enabling visibility by receiving the selected VM traffic, filtering, and sending it to the defined tool. Let's briefly talk about the requirements for virtual monitoring. How do I monitor intra-host traffic between VMs? Or intra-host VM traffic where packet flows never leave the host? Also, monitoring a VM if the VM migrates from one host to another host via vMotion. Traditional approach to monitoring in virtual environment has been to deploy agents. Challenges to agent-based approach are deploying and managing agents on every host can lead to operational issues. User has to first determine which host to install the agent on and then manage those VM agents via a proprietary management system. Deploying an agent on ESXi host consumes compute resources, in which case user has to plan and allocate resources for the agent, such as CPU, memory, and storage. If the host does not have enough resources for the agent to be deployed, then none of the VMs within the host can be monitored. Another challenge with agent-based approach is that agent has to be compatible with every version of vCenter. Also, what happens when a VM migrates to another host where agent is not installed? We lose visibility to that VM. Now, an overview of Big Switch offering for VM monitoring. Big Monitoring Fabric vCenter integration provides a single and simplified workflow for selecting VMs to be monitored via Big Mon controller. VDS and other network configurations are automated to relieve the security of VM admins for performing this task. No intrusive VM or agents are installed on production server. There are two deployment modes user can select from. Option 1 is span, and option 2 is span. With option 1, span-based monitoring, a port mirror session has to be configured on vSphere distributed switch with a dedicated server uplink. This is recommended for continuous VM monitoring. With option 2, span-based monitoring, user can dynamically select the VM they want to monitor without the need of a dedicated uplink. We leverage built-in port mirroring and span features provided on vSphere distributed switch via vSphere API to tunnel traffic from selected VMs. In this demo, we will utilize span option for dynamic VMware monitoring. Let's see how Big Mon vCenter integration enables visibility into virtual environment, whether it be a single vCenter that is to be monitored or multiple vCenters. Once the user has entered the vCenter IP and account credentials, Big Mon controller will pull the inventory for the entire vCenter, thus enabling visibility into all the VMs which is managed by the vCenter. Now let's see how this is accomplished on a Big Mon controller UI. Navigating to the integration menu, we select VMware vCenter and register it with the vCenter. Then we navigate to the vCenter page where we get a summary of what has been discovered by the controller, like inventory and configuration details, thus giving user a centralized single pane of glass management. Host inventory consists of all the hosts that are managed by vCenter. For each host, we can see the host IP, which ESXi version each host is running on, CPU, and memory usage. Virtual switches displays all the switches deployed. For each virtual switch, information such as name of the virtual switch, the host it is deployed on, discovery protocol used, and type of virtual switch are displayed. Virtual machine table gives us information about all the VMs that are being managed by the vCenter. This table gives us information such as VM name, power status, ESXi host the VM is deployed on, and the networking information. After the inventory is populated, user selects which VM to monitor from Big Mon controller. Once the VMs are selected to be monitored, Big Mon controller programs the span session on VDS using vSphere APIs. The span tunnel is then terminated on the filter interface of Big Mon controller. Then the user can filter the appropriate traffic and forward it to the tools. Since the Big Mon controller keeps track of the inventory, a VM migrating to another host with vMotion can still be monitored. Before we select a VM for monitoring, let's look at vCenter network configuration. As we can see that no port mirror session has been created. Navigating back to vCenter integration page, we will select a VM for monitoring. We select the tunnel endpoint where ER-span traffic will be terminated. We can see that the selected VM is now being monitored. ER-span tunnel is automatically created on VDS by BigMon controller via vSphere API. Going back to vCenter, we see that port mirror session has been created. Source and destination for ER-span has been populated. I have started ping between two VMs. As you can see, here is the ping request and reply on the VM. The tool instance connected to the delivery interface is not receiving traffic because we have not created policy to forward the traffic to the tool. Looking at the tunnel interface, we see that traffic is being received. Up until now, we have only created tunnel endpoint and selected the VM we want to monitor. Traffic from selected VM is being forwarded to the filter interface, which terminates the ER-span tunnel. Now let's create a policy to monitor this traffic and send it to our tool instance. We give policy a name, demo, append the desired rule to the policy. We will filter based on source and destination IP address. We provide the source IP address, subnet mask, and destination IP address and subnet mask. Then we select the filter interface where ER-span tunnel is terminated. Select the tool and we save the policy. Now that the policy has been created, ER-span traffic which was terminating on the filter interface is now being forwarded to the tool connected to the delivery interface. We can now see the traffic on tool instance which is being forwarded from the selected VM. BigMon vCenter integration provides integrated single pane of glass for vSphere monitoring, flexible and on-demand VM monitoring for inter-host traffic, or monitoring VM when a VM migrates to another host via vMotion. Leveraging built-in vSphere API to provide end-to-end network visibility in virtual environment, thus alleviating the need for installing and maintaining agents on every ESXi host. To try the hands-on lab with Big Monitoring Fabric, please visit us at labs.bigswitch.com. This concludes the video demo. Thank you for watching.